Imagine moving into your dream lakeside lodge, the perfect escape from chaos. Fresh air, calm waters, the sound of loons calling at sunset. But just 2 days later, you open your door, and a furious HOA board storms in, demanding you leave. They shout, they threaten, they even wave around fake paperwork. But here's the twist, they picked the wrong target, because the governor himself stepped in and said the property was mine. Today, I'll tell you the insane story of how I went from being a quiet new neighbor to the center of an HOA war, and how the most powerful man in the state ended up on my side. I'd been saving for years, hunting for the perfect place to escape city noise. Finally, I found it, a secluded lodge by Crystal Lake. It wasn't just any lodge. It was wide, built with old cedar beams, a wraparound porch, and massive windows that overlooked the lake. You could hear water lapping against the dock at night. When I got the keys, I thought it was going to be the start of peace. The first morning, I brewed coffee, sat on the porch, and just let the sunrise soak in. For the first time in years, my shoulders relaxed. I was home. But peace doesn't last long when an HOA smells new blood. On the second morning, there was a knock. No, not a knock. A pounding. I opened the door, and standing there were 6 people with clipboards, palas, and matching smug expressions. The woman in front looked like the leader, sharp bob haircut, oversized sunglasses, lips pursed tight like she'd just tasted something sour. Her, you're in violation of community rules. This property is not for individual ownership. Me, excuse me? I literally just bought this house. I have the deed. Her, deeds can be complicated. This lodge belongs to the Lakeside HOA, and we expect full compliance. Behind her, the others nodded like an angry flock of geese. They started listing violations. My porch chairs weren't approved colors. My boat dock was unregistered. Even the trees, yes, the trees were out of alignment with community aesthetics. I thought it was some kind of prank, but then they shoved a thick binder into my hands. Hundreds of pages of made-up rules. Her, you'll need to vacate until we determine your status. If you resist, we'll fine you $1,000 a day. I just laughed. Good luck with that. I own this place free and clear. That's when her smile vanished, replaced by something darker. Her coldly, you'll regret defying us. And then, just like that, they stormed off, muttering threats about legal action. The next week was a nightmare. Every day, I'd wake up to something new. HOA members parked their cars across my driveway. I got official letters threatening foreclosure. Someone even spray-painted HOA property on my dock. It wasn't just intimidation, they were trying to break me. I went into town to talk to locals, and that's when I learned the truth. This HOA had been terrorizing the area for years. They'd taken over cabins, docks, even lakeside sheds, using fake fines and intimidation until owners gave up. People whispered about them like a mafia. And their leader, the woman who confronted me, her name was Karen Whitmore, and she ran the HOA like a personal empire. But here's the kicker, my lodge had a history, a powerful one. I dug into old county records. Turns out, my lodge wasn't just another property. Decades ago, it had belonged to the governor's family. The lodge had been gifted to the state as a historical retreat, then quietly sold when maintenance costs rose. But the legal paperwork, showed that my purchase was airtight. The HOA had no claim. Still, Karen didn't care. She doubled down. One evening, I came home to find a giant sign staked in my yard. Private community property trespassers will be prosecuted. That was it. They weren't just harassing me. They were trying to erase my ownership entirely. I made a decision. If they wanted a war, I'd give them one. The next HOA meeting was being held at their so-called community center, which, by the way, was just another cabin they'd seized years ago. I walked in with a folder under my arm. Every member turned and stared like I'd crashed their cult ceremony. Karen sneered. Karen, you're not allowed here. This is private. Me, actually, according to state law, HOA meetings must be open to any affected property owner. And seeing as you keep claiming my lodge is yours, I guess I qualify. The room went dead silent. I laid out my paperwork, reading line by line. The deed, the chain of title, the county stamps. Then, I revealed the bombshell, a letter I'd obtained from the governor's office confirming the historic sale and recognizing me as the sole owner. The HOA members shifted uncomfortably. Karen's face turned red. Karen snapping, this means nothing. We'll escalate. That's when I pulled out my phone and played a voicemail on speaker. It was the governor himself. No one has the right to seize that lodge. If they push you, contact my office directly. That property is yours. Gasps filled the room. Karen's empire cracked in an instant. The next weeks were chaos, but not for me. For them. The governor's office sent investigators. Turns out the HOA had been running illegal fines, seizing property unlawfully, and even laundering money through maintenance fees. Neighbors who'd been bullied for years finally came forward. Lawsuits piled up. Karen tried to fight, but every shred of her authority crumbled. In the end, the HOA was dissolved. Their seized properties were returned. Karen herself faced criminal charges, and my Lakeside Lodge. It was officially recognized as outside any HOA jurisdiction. Mine, fully and forever. Now, when I sit on my porch at sunrise, coffee in hand, I don't just feel peace, I feel victory. The lake is quiet again. The dock is mine. And every time I hear the wind rustle through the trees, I think back to the day Karen stormed my door and said, "You'll regret defying us." She was right, but not in the way she thought. Because in the end, the HOA regretted ever coming after me. So that's how the HOA stormed in right after I moved into my dream lodge, and how the governor himself proved them wrong. Would you have fought back like I did? Or would you have packed up and left to avoid the trouble? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more unbelievable HOA stories, because trust me, I have plenty more where this came from.